Not a whole lot to report. I'll get to your questions, but really, really good recovery day yesterday. Cryo chamber, saltwater float tanks, massage therapist, dry needling, Normatec boots. I mean, you name it. The kids got in and handled their business and responded pretty well today with some good energy. Updates. Jason Hall has been diagnosed with a concussion, so we're treating it as such. And then Malcolm Roach, early in practice today, kind of sprained his toe. So we're gonna take a closer look at that thing when he gets in. Other than that,
Not that these guys have never seen or experienced anything like a cryo chamber or this or that before, but the weight of all of the things that are now available to them, you see like a discernible amount of exclamation from them at the therapeutic effects of these.
yeah, I mean it's twofold. One, Coach McKnight tells them all the time. The first fold of the twofold thing is that it helps their body, obviously. The second one is Coach McKnight talking to them and telling them, you go really hard around here and you're going to get rewarded. And those rewards were on Sunday with all the stuff that we make available to them and put them through. And yeah. And then they also know that then today, if they want to experience that again next Sunday, they got to come out and perform today. So it provides obviously some therapeutic effects, but it also psychologically, keeps them motivated.
What's the protocol with concussion? Or how long? He has to be at a minimum?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I know nowadays they've taken it out of the coach's hands and put it into the trainers and doctors' hands. I can get you the Big 12 protocol. I mean, it's written, and there's a conference and NCAA protocol. So it has to do with baseline tests, and when symptom free, then you go. I don't know how many days symptom free, but I know you can't even take the test until you're symptom free. Then you take the different tests that we've already got baselines on you for. If you pass those tests, then you go do a conditioning test. If you are symptom-free 24 hours from the conditioning test, then you go practice non-contact. And then if you're symptom-free 24 hours after the non-contact practice, then you're cleared to go. But when they're allowed to take that test, I'm not exactly sure.
And Roach, do you have X-rays on the toe?
He will when we get him out.
Tom, what kind of depth are you seeing at nose tackle and the interior line?
Yeah, I think nose is a position that we need the depth, and Gerald Wilbon and actually Jamari Chisholm have been playing well, and so they're not to Poona Ford's caliber just yet, but they're playing well, and if we had to, they would, if we had to play tomorrow, they would play, 10, 12 snaps and hopefully give us some good production. But again, we need those guys continuing to improve their game so that, we feel good that in the fourth quarter and in the second half of the season that Poona Ford's still where he needs to be.
After breaking it all down, anybody you want to brag on from Saturday?
I can tell you the two players of the game on offense was Patrick Vahe, and on defense was Deshaun Elliott. Both those guys played a bunch and played really, really well. So I think those two probably merit the most praise. Anwar.
John Burke is a guy who had 17 starts here, I believe, something like that. How does he fit into where the receiver rotation is? And he's a guy who struggled with catching the ball last year. How's his pass catching ability right now?
Better, not great, but that is a skill that can be learned. I fully believe that. And just like any other skill, you've got a genetic potential, that there's a ceiling somewhere in every skill. And I think he's getting closer to that. He's not there yet. So how does he factor? I don't know right now. I mean, again, that's a really deep room. But He's jogging in there with our second group right now at the Z position and provides us some legitimate speed on the outside. But doesn't matter how fast you run if you don't catch the football. But I've been pleased with how hard he's worked to improve that skill, but he's still got some more work to do.
I think I said 17 starts. I meant 17 games.
I was going to say, I didn't.
Just to add on to Anwar's question, he wouldn't get into me.
Did you not drink your coffee this morning, bro?
Oh, Coach, I've been up since 6 a.m.
Okay.
So I've been going at
Okay.
it. Touching on what Anwar was talking about, John, he wouldn't get in it with me about going to track because he initially told us he wasn't going to do track, and then he ended up doing track. How much did that think it helped him? Did it show you anything, or was it just a matter of him just wanting to stay in shape and condition and just?
Well, it showed me something that he didn't run track until I believe the Big 12 conference meet, and that he was that committed to becoming a better football player and wide receiver. And then when he did go run in the Big 12 and I believe the nationals, right, regionals and nationals, he didn't miss one workout. And to his credit, he found a way to get those in, and it kind of tells you how natural of an athlete he is, the natural speed that he has to. I mean, what did he? He decided to go out and kind of stretched a little bit and did one of these and took second in the Big 12. So I was proud of how much commitment he showed in the spring to football.
At this point of the fall, this early season, how do you feel about your depth at corner?
Not great. The good thing is, corners don't rotate, but if they get hurt, that's going to be an issue. Devontae Davis needs to continue to earn our trust in terms of, he's physically able to do it. He just has some breakdowns from time to time that can be costly, so he's got to be more consistent. And then, Josh Thompson, I think, has the ability in there too. He's just trying to keep his head above water right now as a freshman, but we need to accelerate his growth process too.
Tom, going back to Jamar Chisholm real quick, considering the time he missed not being here for the summer, where is his physical conditioning, and I guess how close is he to game shape, or where ideally
Better than I thought it'd be. Guy comes in August, you really kind of just anticipate probably either having to redshirt him or not getting much out of him until middle or late in the season. But he's done a good job. The good part is when he's in there, Coach Orlando and Coach Giles keep it pretty simple for him too. So it's just about playing, not a whole lot of thinking. But it was his physical condition is better than I thought it would be.
You mentioned several newcomers along with Jamari, Tennille Carter, Kay Brewer. I mean, overall, how do you think this freshman class, this recruiting class, is shaping up?
Great. Yeah, I think, Caden Reese will play. Tennille and Daniel Young will play. Josh, Jamari, Taquan will definitely play. That's whatever that number is, 7 or 8, could be up to 9 guys that you're going to count on for quality minutes. I think that's a pretty good percentage of a true freshman class that can survive out there.
Which week one you're adding pads, you're getting the full pads and things like that. What does week 2 look like for you guys, and what are you trying to get out of it?
Less install, but we'll still install probably until Wednesday or so. Oh, you'd like to have, 90-95% of the offense and defense in by Wednesday. And then I think it's revisiting the things that you did install that you think are going to be your bread and butter or your base offense and defenses. And then just the polishing of the mechanics of a game and getting a signal, getting lined up, making checks, running the same play over and over and over again against different looks and running the same defense against different formations and where do I go, what do I do, different runs, so it's just a matter of repetition now versus a lot of different things.
Are you gonna have a bunch of situational pass rushers?
I think so, yeah. Right now, Breckenhager and Jeffrey McCulloch are two guys that are running with the twos, in first and second down, but if we get them in third and long, would definitely jog on the field. So, yeah, I think, and that's, Coach Orlando does that. That's kind of our deal is, we want to get you in third and long, third and predictable, and then jog a bunch of pass rushers out on the field and make quarterbacks' lives very difficult.
With the August recruiting rules coming on, have you noticed a difference? Like, there are no recruits here. I don't have to try and impress. Have you noticed like an ability to focus on what's going on here more than on the recruiting trail?
Yeah, doesn't make me like it anymore. I still would love to have recruits here. As a lot of teams are starting today, and every team will have started by next Monday in high school. That takes the sting out of it a little bit, knowing that you probably wouldn't see those kids anyways because they're starting their training camp too. But last week that was tough. That was weird, not having kids around. But yeah, the silver lining is that get to focus more on what's going on in the field. But I like really good players too.
Could you elaborate on why you wanted Todd Orlando as your DC and what does he do best on game days?
Yeah, I mean, why I wanted him was because we had a 2-year history together that was extremely productive. I think we finished in the top 5 in the country or top 10 in the country both years in rush defense and total defense. We were in the top 15, and so turnover margin, I think the first year we were 1 or 2 in the country, and so yeah, I mean that was a no-brainer for me, just the history. And he does things, especially as a guy that has called plays for a pro spread offense. He does things the way that his defense is structured is really, really hard on spread teams. And and I saw that, through 2 springs and 2 falls of our offense. You'd have thought we were one of the worst offenses in the country in training camp both years at Houston. And, we go out and we're a top 20 offense, but we couldn't move the ball against him. And, what he does is, he's our defenses have been really, really productive against the run. And when you can do that on first and second down, the stats are, Florida State, I think Dalvin Cook had 19 carries for 31 yards. I think Oklahoma, Pirine and Mixon had under 100 yards combined. He's able to stop teams from running the football and get you into predictable pass situations, and then have fun getting exotic and drawing up fun pass rushes and blitzes.
Sorry, you demand that your teams play hard, hit hard. Are these guys playing to your standard yet, just from what you've seen in practice?
For the most part. There's still some guys, and the really cool thing is when most of the team goes as hard and hits as hard as you expect them to, then the ones that don't get exposed, and they stick out like a sore thumb. And it's really cool because, again, the players then see that and can be the ones to call out, if you will, hey, that's not to our standard, man. What are you doing? That's not the way we do things around here. So for the most part, we still got to get guys that are talented enough to help us that have to go hard enough to become part of our family.
Time for 2 last ones.
Along that line, linebacker specifically, that was something you all stressed going in, spring now. What are you seeing the physical play? Where is it on your?
Better, not great, better. had nowhere to go but up. So at least they went up and not sideways. So, yeah, better. I think, Wheeler is an extremely physical guy. Malik and his newfound strength is striking people. Gary Johnson has been a added physical guy. And then, Ed Freeman is very solid in there. And then obviously Nashawn is a pretty physical, tough guy too. So, again, the best answer is better, but not elite yet.
Tom, last one, going back to what you're saying about what Max is saying. Obviously, everybody in the locker room can watch the tape, and they know who's good, right?
Mhm.
But that idea of self-policing, I mean, how do you foster that? How do you get guys to really pull guys aside and say, hey man, you got to pick it up, or you're going to be out of here?
Well, I think there's a quote by, I believe it's Alexander the Great, where it says, the actions of each of us determine the fate of all of us. And so I think, when you get in your position meeting rooms, and if a tight end screws up, first one's usually on him. The subsequent penalties are on the entire unit. And, at some point, if you're the guy that's not screwing up and you're having to pay for the guy that does screw up, at some point, you're going to say something and you're going to do something and you're going to police that because of you don't want to have to pay for other people's penalties. And so I think, we do a lot of that. We do a lot of that, we call it unit pride, where, every position coach and every unit should strive to be the example unit. When I get up and brag on a unit, it should be your unit. And your unit is only as strong as its weakest link too. And so I think that understanding in the game of football is critical, that everything that I do on and off the field affects the success of everybody. So I think that's on the individual. And then as the group, you have to then realize too, hey, if I want to achieve the things that I want to achieve, even if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to, I need to make sure that everybody else is doing what they're supposed to too, because I can't do this alone.
Do you think it helps that the guys know that you're chewing on their position coaches just as much as those guys are chewing on the players?
Yeah, I think, but it only helps if the relationship is there and the trust and belief is there in that position room. If you don't trust your position coach, you don't like the guy, and you don't believe in him, I can yell at him all you want. You're probably happy when I yell at him. But if you do, if you truly love your position coach, you don't want to be the reason that he, is reprimanded.